2012, and I says, you have these vexatious, frivolous lawyers trying to come after me, and that's when I looked at his lawyers, and I said, are you aware that my name is trademarked? She shut up right there.
Yep.
You know, never got bills. You know, even a couple of people were going to sue me prior to, like, me suing the cop and the whole 9 yards. Yep. They dropped that faster than you can say boo. And that's what I try to tell people, is you have to learn how to protect your assets, your ass, as set, right?
Yeah.
Before anything ever happens.
Mm-hmm.
And when you common law autograph trademark that name, look at autograph, the first 2 letters, you got AU, that's as good as gold. Well, look at, remember that video on the National where they were talking about that, what's his name, Jerry Kane, and I mean, that was all a crock of shit, but supposedly these guys came out with guns and they were shooting at cops.
Oh, yeah, that's totally made up. That's a 9/11 scenario, eh?
That's right. It's a 9/11
It was 2 different pullovers and they grafted it together in Final Cut Pro. It's 2 different videos, yeah.
That's right. And then to top it off, like if you notice, like they're talking about Robert Bernard, they're talking about Dean Clifford.
They're talking about me.
And exactly. And notice how my name or Irene Moss's name never came up.
Yep.
Because we're not citizens and our names are copyrighted and trademarked through the common law system. And that's why they never. But I did notice that halfway through the video that they were posting some of my notarized documents because I saw my name on the bottom, and technically I could sue CBC, but it's like whatever. They didn't really use my name; they just showed my documents, which I was kind of like,
who are you gonna sue? I looked into it, and I'm trying to find out who could you sue because, well, the guy who's the CEO for CBC right now,
yeah,
he's the director of Zarlink in California.
Yeah.
So we could send it to him at Zarlink in California because you know what? It's just a P.O. box here in Canada.
Well, you know what, Max? I try not to sue anybody.
But sending them a little letter. Just to get confirmation or clarification on whether there was a wrong committed or not. And then they can proceed with their paperwork, right? Because they're going to hand it to their lawyers. And if they want to send me money, I have no problem with that. I just like getting it put on the books when I've been assaulted. I'm not seeking any damages. I'm not actually even calling your ombudsman to make a complaint. I don't want to make any complaints. I don't have any complaints with your service. I am totally non-adversarial in whatever service you're providing. But for me and my corporation, today, it's I'm not going to allow that, right?
That's right. But a big thing I find too, and like I won't throw any names around, but like we know somebody here in Edmonton. They started going after a few people and suing, placing lawsuits, filing lawsuits, and through the Edmonton court system and stuff.
Okay.
And you know what eventually happened, man? They hauled this guy off the street. They fed him a beating because he's jeopardizing their livelihood.
Yeah.
They fed him a beating. They've thrown him through a nut house. He's not the same. And I guess what I'm trying to tell people is people who want to get away from that system, don't try to interject yourself back in to deal with their dirty money. I mean, after all, there is no money. It's only debt, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So why people are chasing after dirty usury debit notes? When you take the I out of debit, you got debt. You know, and I don't know why they're all trying to. It'd be like me saying, okay, well, I'm not going to be a Canadian today, but everybody who gets in my way, I'm going to start suing them. And why would I want to sue these people in a de facto court to begin with?
Exactly.
Why would I want to use the very system that I'm out to get away from to sue these people? It just makes no sense. And that's where a lot of people out there, they got to stop being greedy.
No doubt. No doubt. But what I'm trying to say is the transference of the responsibility for the wrong, I don't think we can accept. You know, like me, if I get hit, if I get physically assaulted by a police officer, I don't want to just walk away and say that was completely okay, but I'm not going to bring it into the land of Oz, into the fictional world, and sue him publicly, defame his name, or do anything of that nature. I'm just simply going to have a private process with his boss because I don't like his behavior.
Well, see, that's where you drop the private process, but you have it notarized and authenticated through the Attorney General's office?
No, I just send it registered mail.
Well, yeah, you can send a registered mail, but it's not the same animal, man.
No, I understand. It won't hold up in court in the same, but man, I could even fax it. And if I get a confirmation from the secretary that they received it and that the chief of police has received it, and then the chief calls me back, then I just saved myself a bunch of money and time with the notary. However, and I've kept it private. I haven't hired the somebody who's working for either the queen or the prince and gotten them involved. I'm keeping it in as private as possible because that way it gives them more remedy, right?
But see, that's where the liens come in.
Yeah.
Right? Like for example, I sent off that judge bill, right?
Yep.
For you want to contract with me? Okay, well I'll accept on my terms, and that's what my terms are worth. But nonetheless, like what I did. If I want to stop somebody, I lien them. I won't even walk through their court system because we all know it's the land of Oz.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Dorothy, you're not in Kansas anymore. Same with Toto.
Yep.
So even though you're registering it through their public registry, that still means that you're dealing with them on the private. You're just stopping them in the private from selling all their stuff in the public. And that's where you get them by the ball. It's not going to court, not trying to go through a de facto court system.
Yep.
Is registering that lien in the public, having it notarized and authenticated, and man, after that, if any judge in his right frame of mind tries to overturn that lien, he's construing fraud because notary public is a federal district Supreme Court judge.
Yep. Yep.
So how dare say another judge, even if they went to court, try to overturn the private contract of others? It can't happen.
Yep.
And that's where the liens, providing they're notarized and authenticated.
Yep. That process.
Good luck trying to stop me now.
Yeah, it's like first step notice, second step default notice, third step lien. Never sue anybody.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then you're just freezing them up. It's like, oh, you want to sell your house and your car, or their wife wants a new house. Oh, sorry, honey, we better go talk to Mark or Max.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen the power of liens because I've liened a few friends, and one friend, he filed a bankruptcy or some bullshit for $250,000. They were trying to come back, and we've never heard from them since.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah.
And
because I had it authenticated through their own system.
Now, did you actually have collateral for this lien, or is a lien can be just created through a promissory note?
Well, yeah, you could create it through a promissory note, which is exactly what we did. We drew up $100 trillion bonds and we sent them off to Geithner in the States.
Yeah.
So now my buddy physically had $100 trillion for me to lien.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to lien a boat that you don't have. That would be fraud. Right.
That's right. Yeah.
And once we did that, I'll tell you, like the few people I've liened out and stuff and drawn out bonds for, and that to my knowledge, the government avoids them like the plague.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all we want, really, is to be left alone.
That's right. Stoppage. Full fucking frontal stoppage.
That's right. And that's called whatchamacallit, equitable estoppel.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got the first claim out, right, which is 39.1 of the Canadian Criminal Code, and then with the bond and all that, that's equitable estoppel.
Yeah. Yeah.
My equity, because I won't deal in an equitable court. That's for slaves. That's for chartered employees, and I'm not a chartered employee, right?
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why everything has to be based on love and forgiveness. The same thing that we're kind of gonna, it's like the only alchemy that can be used in order to stop the cancer, because killing it, trying to kill it, or public hangings, or any of these stupid militaristic ideas of what we could do and should do to these people, like as if we are the ones who are currently facilitating this system, like as if it's something that they're patriotic for. And they don't even understand it, and it's ruled by such a small group of people. And really, when you get down to it, any man or woman who goes through this process, through to the end, be it that they're ignorant in any way of that process, they get swallowed up and spit out at the end. And the only people in this world who can actually, stand up for this system that we currently have right now is those people who haven't been privy to it yet. And there's such a large number of them. And then the ones who do go through it and then they come out ignorant on the other side too, they still propagate for it because they say, oh, I should have known better or something.
And look at the word. propagate, pro-pay. It's like being a parent, right? You know what they call them? They call citizens parents because they're paying rent for the government's kid, and that's why the Queen sends child tax bonuses for the parents to pay rent for the Queen's kid.
Yeah.
So you don't want to propagate, pro-pay, and gate, and you don't want to, it's just, it's like people too. They got to stop walking into court going, well, I'm a defendant. Who dance defend? The Queen ant.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. But I think you're absolutely right. And one of the biggest things I would suggest, like if anybody's ever going to listen to this or whatever, is we have to show love and we have to stop being adversarial at all costs. Like if you do your proper paperwork, pro-per, right? Right? Yeah. If it's pro-per and things are done properly, like their system only recognizes certificated claims. So that's why you can still use these certificated claims in the private. That's just to let the government know. That's kind of like my peace treaty with the government. I drew up a peace treaty. I had it authenticated, notarized, and through the Attorney General's office, and basically said, listen, I'm not a pirate, on the seas of commerce, and I come unhorned. Basically, I'm not a pirate, and this is a peace treaty informing everybody, informing, look at the words, inform, that it was on their public forums.
Yep.
Although I retain those deeds.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that way there, you can be more peaceful with the authorities and everybody else, because then they'll go, oh, like, for example, that guy's not a Canadian. Oh, like I have a Canadian buddy who claimed that the Canadian citizenship was his corporation and that he was back from the dead, like Jesus. Mm-hmm. So he redeemed himself. 3 guys in black suits came to talk to him, the whole 9 yards, and I won't mention any names.
Yeah.
And even the police had thrown him in jail a couple of times, and they let him go, just for the simple fact that his name is a common law autograph trademark name. Oh. He has the paramount, par a mount, as in money, interest in that. And interest is money.
Yeah.
So he's the principal, as in the Prince I Pal. He is the prince. The prince of the interest, the prince of the money, like a summons, a summon, right?
Yeah.
It's all about the Benjamins. That's all it is.
That's right. And it's about title and being a citizen. Like, are you fictional or are you a man, right?
That's right. And like my buddy, like he claimed that, listen, that dead ship, that is my ship to deal with in the Sea of Commerce, not the government's, even though the government still holds on to it. And the last few times, man, like he's never been charged with anything. It's kind of funny. He's had more run-ins with the law since doing this process, but people just keep letting him go.
Yeah.
And they don't even they avoid using his name like a plague. They threw him in the Who's Gal a couple of times. They let him go. One cop was going to make up these fictitious charges that he assaulted the officer, which my buddy's so peaceful that he wouldn't hurt a fly. And then the next day, it's like, yeah, get out of here. And he was getting ready to, like, sue them. And I told him, I said, you don't do that, man. Just count your blessings that these assholes only held you up for a couple of nights. They didn't have any, they decided not to press any false charges on you and be done with it. I said, don't go stirring up the pot. You show a little respect to these people, even if they made a mistake, they'll show more back to you.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell people, like, do your process properly. Like, I hear all these people, oh, well, I just cut up my ID and stuff. Maybe like a few years ago that worked because people were taking them by storm. They were taking the government, catching them off guard.
Yep.
But like I say, the government deals, because they're dead, they can only recognize certificates. And when people do that process properly, whether you're claiming that the citizenship is yours and that you're just you're the agent for it, and you in the flesh are the executor / administrator, add mine, I trade, right?
Yeah.
Administrator. And then people will leave you alone.